Hello, thank you for joining us here today. Today, our following topic is going to be planning for the unexpected, disaster planning, and insurance. Before proceeding, I'd like to speak a little about who I am, followed by who we are here at Family Housing Resources. So, my name is Brian Perez. I am the Education Program Developer for Family Housing Resources, and I hold the following certifications. But above all, I am a dad to my young dog right here. Her name is Cal. So that's pretty much who I am. Now going into who we are here at Family Housing Resources, we move forward with our mission statement in mind of creating lasting solutions to help individuals and families reach financial freedom through housing support, education, and partnership. Um, we are a nonprofit organization that has been in the community since 1991. We are a HUD certified housing counseling agency that has worked in homeownership in our community since 97, where we provide both pre and post purchase counseling, home buyer education, financial counseling, and we also work on affordable housing now through rental properties, housing development, and helping prepare people for housing stability and generational wealth through financial education, homeownership counseling, and rental counseling as well. So for our presentation of today, we're going to jump right into it. The dealing with the emergencies and homeownership, 12 ways to prepare. There is 12 ways, but at the end, the key way here is to make a plan. A plan will encompass all of these 12 ways as well, and will help you in ensuring that if the time ever does come, you have something set as a reference as to what the plan was. What are we going to do? How is it going to get done? And how do we get it? How do we execute the plan? So with that, we will be covering some of the following, which is sign up for alert and warnings, making the plan, saving for that rainy day, practicing your emergency drills, testing the family communication plan, the importance of safeguarding your documents, planning with neighbors, colleagues, friends, whoever is within your vicinity that you know would be impacted by an emergency along with you, making sure you're making your home safe, and some tips on how you're able to do that as well. Knowing not only the evacuation routes from your neighborhood, but maybe out of the city if need be as well. Assembling and updating supplies. Just knowing that, okay, well, what's an appropriate amount of supplies that I should have in case something of this nature does occur. And then getting involved in your community, if you're part of any groups or associations or organizations, getting in contact with them, getting involved, and knowing what your plans are as a community. And then also the importance of documenting and insuring your property. So I know some people are thinking, disasters don't happen in Tucson, Brian. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'll give it to you. Going through it, getting this information from the Pima County libraries, and some information as well from KOLD. Um, I would say, yeah, they're pretty far and few. However, I would say that in the last 80 years, out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Out of the 14, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of the 14 were fires. And I think that's fair to say when looking at what the risk of a disaster impacting Tucson, Arizona, and I would say even greater parts of Pima County, is our extreme heat. Anyone who's been here in the summer knows it gets warm. It gets warm. And then the significant dry seasons due to drought kind of make it a perfect storm or perfect environment for fires to thrive. Because when it's not only hot but dry, it's asking for the fire is just like let me burn. And we see that with the impact of buildings in Tucson that would be impacted from a fire, where 62% of those buildings are likely to be impacted by a major fire in Tucson, which is significant. That means more than 1 out of every 2 people would have their building damaged and or affected. Floods are less likely. They're at 20% compared to fire's chance of 62%. But the individuals who have experienced the Tucson monsoons, I can't speak for the greater Pima County, but I know we all have experienced some monsoons. Flooding is very likely, and it's not only the case that it would end up flooding your home, but with heavy, strong rains comes the possibility of roof damage as well. So it's important to keep these things in mind, not only when disaster planning, but when considering what type of insurance protection you may need in the future, which we'll also get into in a bit. So step one, make that plan. Collect all the contact information from your family and add it to that communication plan. Whatever that is. Do they have an email? Do they have a communication app? Like I've heard of some called like WhatsApp, Messenger, whatever it is, um, phone number, etc. Make sure you do have that information just in case you do need to reach out to them and your first form of communication didn't work. Maybe you called them or texted them and you didn't hear anything, and it's like, oh, whoa, like how else can I reach them? And that kind of speaks to the importance of not only having their information, but including information from other important people, clubs, facilities, wherever your loved one may be. Um, and being able to also get their information just in case. Let's say like you have a son or daughter that's doing a sport and they don't answer their phone when something is going on because they're out playing the game, or they're competing in a game, better yet. So it's important to know is like, well, who else could I contact? Like maybe I could contact one of the parent liaisons who's there helping at the event. Maybe I could contact the coach, A, B, and C. Just want to make sure you have that information. And it goes, it's more important and significant when speaking about daycares, because when it comes to being a new parent, you want to make sure that your young baby to 3 or 5 year old is safe and secure in case something does happen. So being able to reach out to those providers, be it a daycare, preschool, learning institution, being able to know what their how to get in contact with them in case an emergency is to occur, and most importantly, test it. It's There's nothing wrong with making sure that you're running drills to ensure that in case anything does happen, that your forms of communication are valid and working. Maybe it's that the information that's on that communication plan is outdated, and now you're trying to call someone, and because we don't have to remember phone numbers anymore, it becomes very difficult to be like, oh, you know what, that I think this is their new number. So just making sure that you have up to date information and correct information on there. So know your local plans and resources. This, as we already mentioned, like schools and daycares, but it's also important if you're part of an HOA, homeowner association, to know what the emergency response plan is. Um, you just want to make sure that you're working together instead of against each other. Maybe it's because someone didn't know the plan, they're causing an unexpected obstacle and being able to run smoothly, and now it brings everyone else into a greater chance of being impacted, or something of that sort. You just want to make sure that if you are part of an HOA, that you are aware of what that emergency response plan is, in case you do come to a point where you need to execute that response plan. And then, as well, even if you're not part of an HOA, but you maybe have neighbors, make sure that you work with your neighbors to develop and review that. The review what that emergency plan would be. Maybe none of your neighbors speak, you don't even have that, but what's to say that maybe there is this one there's one of this older individuals living there by themselves, and in a time of emergency, there's no one to help him or her get out of that premise. It would be great for someone in the neighborhood to be like, okay, we know that this is responsibility, or maybe it's just that the Bob and Linda went out for a movie night, an emergency occurred, and the kids are home alone with the babysitter or without a babysitter, and it's just knowing that there is going to be a neighbor or someone within your immediate surrounding that could ensure the safety of your children and or loved ones as well. For myself, would be my dog. Sounds funny, but that's how I move forward. So, make an evacuation and shelter plan. Sometimes it may come that if we are impacted by a fire, like it's noted, about 62% of the buildings in Tucson will be impacted. It is if it is to be classified as a disaster. Um, so no, sign up for like alerts and warnings to be able to stay up to date. One of the good ones is wireless emergency alerts. It's a national system, national wireless emergency alert system to help and improve the communications about disasters going on in both tribal, local, state, and federal level. So it's a good resource to have just in case. And then one of the big things is pick multiple meeting places and shelters. Like I said, we saw that it was 62% may be impacted. If that's the case, then it may be ideal to actually also identify um, meeting points outside of the city. Maybe you're like, oh, you know what? If something is to happen here in Tucson, we're going to go ahead and meet up at Elroy, Chandler, Phoenix, wherever it may be. But just knowing that having a place to go out of the vicinity that may be impacted is very beneficial. You could have as many as you'd like, but have at least one option that's outside of the impacted area. Maybe you're like, well, if our neighborhood is impacted, we're going to meet in this coffee shop 10 miles from the house or anything of that sort. But make sure at least one is outside the shelter area in case the disaster is um, significant enough to impact that much of the landscape. And then make sure evacuation plans have alternative routes. Not to say that it's that if a fire was to impact Tucson or Pima County, that freeways would be impacted, but I do think it's fair to say that in times of disaster, sometimes we're in an elevated or escalated mood or mindset, and errors occur. Maybe there's a car crash, a car pile up, some road rage that went wrong, and now there's a blockage in that route where people are not able to move forward until that gets sorted out. So you want to make sure that you do have those alternative routes in case something of that sort does happen. Maybe it's just like, okay, well, if the freeway gets blocked, what street are we getting off on? How are we going to move forward to get from this point to that point where we said we're going to be? And the importance of running those drills. Sometimes we're like, no, that's not going to happen. And that's the time it happens. So just make sure to run your alternative routes just to ensure you're familiar with them. There hasn't been any changes or developments to the streets, just to ensure it's a smooth process. So then, gathering emergency supplies. One of the things that a lot of people come to ask is, how much do I need to have? And a rule of thumb is to be able to survive, to have supplies to last for at least 72 hours or 3 days. Most of the time, there should have been a response to disaster within those 3 days. But I will note that there has been some disasters in our nation that take longer than 3 days to get resolved. So I would shoot anywhere between 3 to 7 days. But at the end, it is up to your discretion. Some may even say up to 2 weeks. And that's completely fine. But it's just having an idea as to what you're comfortable with. Maybe you're still only like, 3 days is enough for me. Or no, I need 7. Or it's just like, actually, no, I feel more comfortable having 14 days of supplies. Work it out with yourself. See what number or amount of supplies works best with you. But just remember that you want to make sure it's items for food in particular, that it's items with a long shelf life. As we saw, the last major fire was in 2020. One is happening right now around Cochise County from the last that I heard. But unfortunately, I don't know how big it actually is. Other items to consider besides food are water, cash, a flashlight, battery, radio, first aid kit, pet supplies, basic tool sets, stuff that you may end up needing. I would say one of the big ones comes is a basic tool set. You want to be able to make any fixes that may have impacted. Maybe your roof caved in. You want to be able to put something to get that blocked up. Maybe you need a hammer. Maybe you need some nails. Maybe you need a drill. Whatever it is. But also having like cash at hand. Maybe it's the case that this disaster took down a electrical tower or a cell phone tower or something of that sort, transformer, whatever you call them. And now um, None of the machines are taking card or self tap, so you have to pay everything cash. So it's just important to have at least a supply of cash in case an emergency does happen, as well as other supplies. Maybe you have some pets. Make sure that you keep some stuff for your animals as well. Disasters not only impact us, but them also. If you have any prescribed medications or glasses, make sure to include them in this kit. Glasses are a biggie. If you are vision impaired, such as myself, if I was to lose my glasses, yeah, I'd make it through, but it'd be a bit challenging, you know. And then if your vision is more impaired, glasses are a necessity. So make sure you have at least a backup, in case anything happens. Glasses fall, things may hit your face, something uh, hits you. Have a backup. It's better to have a backup. And medications also. One of the things I have heard is, Brian, like, how am I going to put medications if I don't know when it's going to happen? And that's a super fair argument. But my 2 cents there would be is like, okay, well, just make sure you have a prescription and you know what it actually is. You're like, oh, it's like I take a medication for my heart, oh, but I actually don't remember the name. It's like, ooh, okay. So make sure to at least write it out and have it there with your glasses or other emergency supplies in case you do come across a disaster. You know what you need in order for your health. Like that, if when it comes to you're like, okay, this is what I needed or this is what I need to get, um, in case emergency does happen. And no, we don't know when or where we will be in an emergency happens. So it's important to have some supplies kind of spread out. It's not like to say, oh, I have the 14 days or 3 days or 7 days of food, water, and other supplies in each location. But it's better to have something just in case. A nice breakdown is right here, where a home, you keep the kit designated place and have it ready in case you have to leave your home quickly, and make sure all family members know where the kid is kept. The other one is like for the office, be prepared for a shelter or work for at least 24 hours. Your work kit should include food, water, comfortable walking shoes, and other necessities like medicine. Of course, and vehicles in case you became stranded, keeping emergency supplies in your car. For whatever reason, these are just guidelines. There is no hard rule. It's what you feel most comfortable with. Maybe you're comfortable. It's like, well, if I get stuck at work, you know what? We have a coffee machine. We have a toaster. I think we have some snacks in there too. I'll be okay. Or maybe you're like, oh man, no. If I get stranded, driving from here to uh, somewhere where there's a long stretch of land, and now to get stranded, I want to make sure I at least have a snack and some water and maybe an umbrella to keep shade from the sun. Stuff like that. So really talk to yourself, talk with your family, see what it is, helps each of you and all of you feel secure and secure in case something of this sort does happen. And just make sure that you have enough to make everyone feel that they're okay if something like this was to occur. So here we're going to watch a video of the Prepare and Safeguard Your Critical Documents from the Ready Life. Talking about the importance of making sure your important information is disaster proof, and keeping it in a safe or in a safe place, and the documents such as deeds, trust, financial and legal documents, medical and insurance information, and hotline numbers that may be able to provide you with resources in times of those emergencies. So with that, let me go ahead and pull up the video and we'll watch it together. Oh. Thank you for your patience. My apologies. There we go. Thank you. Once again, my apologies. Awesome. They said it very. They said it well. Is making sure you have a backup to your backup. Um, you never know when something's going to occur. And if that's the case, maybe the disaster impacted you. You want to make sure that your next of kin or your heirs are able to access information that they may need. Maybe they need to close out your financial accounts or sort out your affairs on your behalf. Making sure that you do have all the information that they need in order to be able to access stuff like that in a secure and safe place in case they do need to access it at one point or another for whatever reason. And yeah, just making sure to utilizing what's best for you based on your needs and budget at the time. So building an emergency fund. This one in particular is something that gets asked a lot is how much do I need? And the amount you need to have an emergency savings fund really depends on your situation and what it is you feel you need for yourself. One of the things that I do let people know is think about the most common unexpected expenses that you've had in the last 10 years. Now, maybe in this last 10 years, you racked up um, a number of car troubles, car accidents, or maybe your health has been causing you some unexpected expenses over the last 10 years. You notice that your kid gets hurt often playing his sport or her sports, stuff of that sort that may contribute to unexpected expenses, and then how much they cost. This kind of gives you an idea of okay, well, based on my circumstances and what I normally occurs to me, this is kind of an idea of what I need in order to be able to cushion or be prepared for these unexpected expenses. Of course, we can't. Life has a funny way of throwing us even unexpected to the unexpected. Where it's just like, no, no, if something unexpected is going to happen, it's most likely this, but there's always the chance that it's something that we didn't take into consideration. So make sure to add a buffer in there as well when setting that limit for yourself. You're like, well, based on my common expenses, I think I need maybe $2,000 a year to cover anything that may happen. But just in case, let me throw in an extra 200, 300, $500 for whatever other item may occur. And just being able to help yourself in case that emergency does come. Sorry. And then if you're living paycheck to paycheck or don't get paid the same amount each week or month, putting aside money can feel difficult, but even small amounts can provide some financial security. So it's if you're in a situation where you only have $5 left at the end of each billing cycle, maybe like you paid your rent, your car, your insurances, bills, X, Y, and Z, and you only have $5 left. Um, Make sure to use a couple of those dollars to get yourself an ice cream, do something for yourself, but also make sure to put some of it over to your savings towards this goal, because when the unexpected happens and we don't have even a little bit to help cushion ourselves, we find ourselves in a bigger hole. So even a small amount goes a long way. So set a goal, have a specific goal for your savings. It can help stay motivated. You're like, all right, I'm closer to my goal. I'm closer to that 200. I'm closer to that 500. I'm closer to that 1,000. And establishing that emergency fund may feel that achievable goal that helps you stay on track, especially when initially getting started. And then make sure to do consistent contributions. This is always hard. Discipline is not an easy thing to move forward with. But make sure, like, if you find yourself that it's hard for you to remember to do make consistent contributions, consider looking into the pay yourself first budgeting method, where you allocate a specific fund to savings before you pay your bills, and you go out and use the rest on your wants. A lot of the times, what happens is we pay our bills, we use it on our wants, and whatever, if any, is left over, then it goes into savings. So it's very beneficial to flip it around and put your money into savings first, pay your bills, and whatever is left you can use without worry because you already put money into your savings or your goals. Regularly monitor your progress. It's super beneficial to regularly monitor it because it lets you know if you're on track or you're off. If you're off, then it's going back and reviewing your expenses to see, where's my money going? Because I should have more in this in my savings than I do. And also remember to ensure that your savings is growing as quick as best as it can. Right now, there is a lot of beneficial high yield savings accounts going on, but they're not the only options. There's other options as well. And then celebrate your success. A lot of times, maybe we're trying to save up to 1,000 or that 2,000, 10,000, whatever it is, whatever amount it is for you. And getting to the end goal is much more difficult than it is getting to checkpoints per se. So let's say you want to get to that 1,000 and you're like, oh man, I only saved $50. Like I'm so far. And then it's changing it. It's just like, all right, well, my first goal is to get to $200. Oh, I'm at 50. Awesome. 150 more. Not bad. Okay. When I get to 100, now I'm like, okay, I want to get to 400. All right, cool. I have 500. I have 350 right now. Cool. I'm almost there. So making it more bite sizes to get to your final goal really helps you in not only completing them, but also recognizing yourself for the effort you're doing. And if you need help in budgeting, join us and on May 28th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. on keeping up with expenses and tax benefits, a homeowner's guide to budgeting and maximizing savings. So another item is make your home safer. Install smoke detectors and places recommended by the manufacturer. Move beds and couches away from the windows. This is a biggie. We could get some pretty strong winds here in Tucson. I'm assuming some parts of FEMA County also do. And with these strong winds, sometimes something could break through your window. And what if you have your bed or your couch right next to the window? Now you have glass shards all over yourself. So just take that into mind. If you're going to put something by a window, just remember that you're putting it in an area that's technically vulnerable to disasters. And then store heavy items on the lowest shelves or on the bottom floor. You have a two-story home. It's just if something was to happen, some of those big items could slide, fall, and cause some real damage, maybe to yourselves or to your home. And know how and when to switch off your utilities. This is a big one for your circuit breakers and then your water shutoff valves. Maybe a pipe breaks, and because you didn't know where the shutoff valve was, the water kept going and going, and the damage only got more significant. Or maybe an electrical wire got exposed, and now it's flinging everywhere, and it's starting to cause fires. You want to make sure you know how to turn it off to prevent even the fire getting fueled even more. And then, like as we saw with what our risks are, we have a 3 times higher chance of fires than we do floods. So just make sure you're keeping homes fire safe with some of the items we talked about, but make sure to close the door. It helps. Let's say you have a 3 bedroom, 2 bedroom place. Make sure you're closing doors because when they're open, you're giving opportunities for the fires to spread more. It happens. Maybe you didn't close the door today. It's nothing of the world, but you just want to make sure you make it a habit. In case something does happen, you've already done some steps to prevent the fire from spreading even more. And now document and insure property. This comes from the Minnesota Department of Commerce, and it detailed records of your documents and valuables, appraising your high value items, and securing your records. So I'll go ahead and share that video right now, and we'll go ahead and get moving forward.
When disaster strikes, are you prepared? The NAIC found that 59% of homeowners had no home inventory. Many were paid a settlement far less than what their possessions were worth because they missed items or didn't know the value of items at the time of the disaster. Today we'll be talking about how you can prepare your family for that unexpected disaster. The first thing you can do to get your home prepared for that disaster is to be well informed on your insurance policy and coverage. For example, many homeowners think that their policy covers them in the event of a flood. However, that's not always true. That's why it's very important for you to look over and understand your homeowner's insurance policy. Consider scheduling a meeting with your insurance agent to ensure that your coverage is well suited to your needs. Many policies offer endorsement for backup of sewer and drain or overflow of a sump pit. These are especially important to add to your policy if you have a finished basement. Many also offer increased limits for special items, such as jewelry, coins, firearms, tools, artwork, and more. Talk to your agent or review your policy to determine what options are available. The next thing you can do is to document and keep track of your household belongings, also known as keeping a home inventory. Today I will be walking you through that process and explaining why it's important for you to create a home inventory list. It's very simple for you to start a home inventory list. You can enter it into a spreadsheet and take photos of your household items. Today I will be using the checklist created by the Minnesota Department of Commerce, which is also available for you to download for free on our website. Your home inventory list should not only include your luxury items such as jewelry, art, and designer handbags, but also your personal effects such as electronics, computers, appliances, furniture, and clothing. Don't forget about the tools in your garage or workshop, even the batteries. Please take note of your disposable items such as paper towels, makeup, hygiene items, and more. Everything adds up when there is a major loss. Now let's get started with creating our list. When creating your home inventory list, here are some things to include. Item name and serial number, if available. The price of the item when you purchased it. Date of purchase and where you purchased it from. And the make and model of the item. Something to keep in mind when you're doing your home inventory is to document your home's current condition. This includes taking photos to document the current condition of your paint, your cabinets, your flooring, and so forth. Keep your receipts for big ticket items in a safe place, such as in a firebox or by scanning them to a cloud storage system, such as Google Drive or iCloud. Now that you know how to create a home inventory checklist, be sure to keep it updated regularly as you make future purchases. Make it a habit to revise your home inventory list after major holidays, birthdays, or other special times of year. It pays to be proactive, so make sure to create a home inventory to document your loss, so your insurance company can reimburse you for what you lost when that unexpected disaster strikes. If you have any questions, please visit the Minnesota Department of Commerce's Disaster Information Center on our website.
Again, well said. It's just better to be proactive. A lot of times we hear insurance didn't cover this, insurance didn't do that. And it is part of our responsibility as well to make sure we have the documentation to help and support ourselves when we are making those insurance claims. Just to be as prepared as we can. Because as he said, in those difficult times, every dollar does add up. So now insurance. There is a huge insurance world where there's insurance for short-term disability, life, health, auto, um, appliances, and so on. Today we're going to be talking about two insurances in particular. Homeowners insurance and private mortgage insurance, to kind of give an understanding of what each of them actually covers and does. So for homeowners insurance, it's important to know if you make a claim, the more expensive the damage is, the more likely your rates will go up. And we see that with car insurance as well. If we are to get into an accident, you can expect your rates will end up increasing, um, making it more expensive year to year to have that insurance. Um, it's not always our fault, but sometimes we're still penalized for it. So it's important to keep in mind. But insurance can work for you if you are to come to a position where you're incurring $30,000 in damages, but you don't have that money in the bank. Well, guess what? You only pay your deductible and they cover the rest. So there is their benefits to having insurance. And of course, like uh, for us, expenses are always a con, always a con. But still remember there are benefits to the things that you are buying for yourself. And it's just ensuring that what you're paying for is covering what you need and also providing you with the security you're looking for. And of course, insurance rates do depend on the value of the home insurance that your homeowner's insurance that you're getting. If you're looking for very minimal stuff, then you're going to get very minimal coverage. If you're looking for very thorough coverage, then you're going to have to pay that price as well. So make sure that you're working with yourself to understand what really does work best for you. Common coverage associated with it doesn't mean it's always associated with it. It's just commonly seen. Would be like accidental discharge of overflow of water or steam, theft, windstorm, smoke, sudden and accidental tearing apart, cracking, burning, or bulging, and other items as well. Here's a nicer image that kind of breaks it into play, like what does homeowners insurance cover? Homeowner insurance will help protect your house, your belongings, and even you if the unexpected occurs. Typical policies include four key types of protection: dwelling, other structures, personal property, and liability coverage. Not all policies are alike, super important to note. And it's important to remember that coverage limits and deductibles may apply. So when it comes to dwelling coverage, if your home is damaged, dwelling coverage may help pay to repair or rebuild the home. Some of the risks that are typically covered are fire and smoke, wind, lightning strikes, and hail. If you notice, water is not commonly included in there. Other structures coverage may help pay to repair or replace certain components that are not attached to your home after a covered loss. This coverage may extend to items such as a shed, detached garage, or even a fence. Then personal property coverage. This would be items such as furniture, clothing, electronics. Make sure you do keep that documentation. Keep your receipts if possible for these items, and either hard copies or digitally. It just helps in making these claims. And then liability coverage, a guest, medical bill, your legal expenses if you're sued, and injured parties lost wages, the cost of repairing damage you accidentally caused to someone else's property. So it's important to understand your homeowner's insurance, and it is beneficial to sit down with your insurance provider to ensure you're understanding what your policy entails. Oh, and then check with your insurer if it covers any of the following, such as mold damage, termite damage, roof damage. That's a biggie. I believe it was last year or earlier this year when there was a storm impacting, I believe it was North Tucson, and a number of people had their roof damaged. And we did get some calls of people letting us know that their insurance coverage did not cover the full amount of the roof repair because of limits applied to it. So it's important to understand what is and isn't covered. And as we said, make sure to check with your insurer just to confirm that what you think is covered in your policy actually is covered in your policy. Those insurance contracts can be lengthy. So sometimes we don't read them over and we're actually a little bit unclear as to what is covered. So make the time, give your insurance provider a call and have your questions answered. They're required to answer your questions. And then a big distinction here: private mortgage insurance and homeowners insurance. As we said, homeowners insurance is protecting you, making sure that you and your assets are protected. And it can be used for any type of loan, and most times required it in order to get a mortgage. But even if a mortgage provider didn't require it, a lender didn't require it, it's super beneficial to have. Like I said, do weigh out your pros and cons to determine if it's right for you. We can't tell you what to do with your money, but we can just let you know the options that are available. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Now, private mortgage insurance. Whew, I'm sorry. It's just I have a I'm very against private mortgage insurance because it's not protecting you. It's protecting the lender. Normally, when you get private mortgage insurance, it's because you put a down payment of less than 20% of the home's value, meaning that you're considered a riskier individual. So, lending institutions require that you get private mortgage insurance. And it's to protect the lender in case you default on your home where you're not able to keep making payments on it. If that was to occur, um, that means that you would still end up losing the home, but they're insured for a portion of the money that they would lose from you not being able to keep up with your home payments. So it's really meant for the lender to cover the risk associated with you. So if you have private mortgage insurance, it's important to know that you can cancel it once you reach that 20% equity in your home. And make sure you do. Make sure. Some lenders are great and they'll be like, "Hey, you're done. You don't have to pay us anymore." Others will let it write it out. So make sure once you hit that 20% equity, you get rid of it. It's not there to protect you; it's there to protect your lender. So what happens when wear and tear breaks your home down? This is a biggie. A lot of times people think that your personal belongings are covered through your insurance, but your insurance is more of accidental compared to a warranty, which is going to help you more with that wear and tear. A good example, so here it's just letting you know, not required by lenders, but it gives you an extra layer of protection, especially for aging homes. So a nice breakdown here is home insurance will insurance against natural disasters and calamities requires when you purchase a home for the mortgage loan. It covers structures of the house, personal belongings, liability protection. But home warranty covers more of appliance repairs, plumbing problems, and electrical problems. It is loosely regulated, so that's important to remember. But some examples are when insurance covers the damage, a tree falls on your property and breaks a window or other structure in your home. That's when insurance will take over. That was a disaster. That was unexpected. It was accidental in a way. However, a home warranty will cover, oh, when your home is an older home and the appliances are a bit older and now they're starting to malfunction. Well, hey, insurance is going to be like, hey, man, that sucks. Like that's not our responsibility. That's to be expected with age and wear and tear. That's when a warranty plan will come into benefit, where you'll be able to use that warranty to help with those electrical complications or other complications that may occur with your appliances. So it's super beneficial. I get a number of warranties on my technical appliances just because things happen. So it when able to and it benefits you, consider it an option for yourself. And with that, we have come to the end of our presentation. And as always, how we can help you here, FHR, in your financial journey with post purchase counseling, with a HUD certified housing counselor, home buyer education, as some of you may already taken. However, there's always more to learn, more to gain, and more to apply in your day to day. And then credit counseling with the certified credit counselor. Maybe you found yourself with with a 580 or lower credit score, and you're trying to improve your credit to save money over the life of your loans. Then yeah, that's awesome. You wanted to develop a plan to pay down your debt. All right, let's do it. Down payment assistance programs, if applicable, and then financial education led by financial professionals and of financial coaching one on one. If you're looking to develop goals, develop plans, or identify or work through products that you may be considering as well. For more information, feel free to contact us at info@fhrinc.net or at our phone number at 520-318-0993. With that, thank you very much for your time here today. I greatly appreciate it. And as mentioned, join us on May 28th for keeping up with expenses. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.